Queen Myra sat on her throne, high above the bustling city of Lumeria. The sun glinted off the silver towers of the capital, and the streets below were alive with movement. Citizens hurried to their duties, soldiers practiced in the training grounds, and scouts returned from distant borders with news of the skies. Myra's eyes were sharp and observant. At 25, she had ruled Lumeria for 7 years, and she believed in strength above all. She believed that power came from skill, discipline, and experience. Most importantly, she believed humans were weak. Lumeria was a kingdom unlike any other. Its people were not all human. Alien allies had lived alongside humans for generations, creatures from distant stars who brought their strength, speed, and wisdom to the capital. These aliens were fierce warriors, unmatched in combat, and Myra had always admired their abilities. Humans, in her view, were fragile. They lacked natural defenses and physical prowess. Even the bravest soldiers among them could not match an alien warrior in skill or endurance. Myra had watched generations of humans train, and while they tried hard, she remained unconvinced. In the training hall below, a group of human volunteers practiced drills under the supervision of General Torn, an alien of massive build with scaled arms and sharp eyes. Myra observed quietly from above. Her eyes rested on a young soldier named Aaron. He was ordinary in appearance, with brown hair and simple clothes, nothing like the towering aliens around him. He moved carefully, measured each motion, and followed instructions with discipline. Yet Myra dismissed him. He was human. No human could match the strength or speed of the aliens. The hall was alive with noise. Weapons clashed, commands rang out, and the air smelled of sweat and determination. Myra's gaze moved from Aaron to the other humans. Some stumbled under heavy weapons, some struggled to complete exercises, and others simply watched as their alien counterparts outperformed them at every turn. Myra leaned back in her throne and sighed. It was always the same. Humans could never be as strong or as fast as the aliens. They were clever, perhaps, but cleverness alone did not win battles. Strength did. Strategy did. Power did. Her thoughts were interrupted by the sharp voice of her advisor, Minister Vila. "Your Majesty," Vila said, thawing slightly. "Reports from the outer borders indicate unusual activity. Sensors show ships approaching from the void. They move faster than anything we have seen in years." Myra's eyes narrowed. "How many?" she asked. "Too many to count from the initial scans. We believe it is a fleet, possibly an invasion force. The aliens' homeworlds do not recognize these ships. They are unknown." Myra felt a chill in her spine, but she did not let it show. The thought of an invasion had crossed her mind before, but she had never believed humans could play a role in defending the kingdom. Her first instinct was to prepare her elite alien army. They would face the threat head-on. Humans would remain behind, safe in their barracks, or perhaps assigned to minor support duties. She could not risk human lives in a fight they could not survive. "Prepare the fleet for battle," she ordered. "Alert our soldiers. The humans will be on standby. The aliens will defend our borders." "Yes, Your Majesty," Vela replied, bowing again before leaving the chamber. Myra stood and walked to the balcony overlooking the city. She watched as soldiers and citizens carried on their daily routines, unaware of the danger that approached. She thought about Aaron and the other human volunteers. They had potential, yes, but they were fragile. Fragile in a world that demanded strength. She had always believed this, and she would not be proven wrong. Meanwhile, in the training hall, Aaron wiped sweat from his forehead. He had noticed the tension in the air, the hurried reports coming in from the city. The humans had gathered for a briefing. They were told that the kingdom might face an attack and that their roles were limited. Some humans grumbled, others nodded silently, but Aaron felt something stirring inside him. He did not consider himself the strongest or the fastest, yet he had ideas, strategies, and determination. "Aaron," said Captain Lyra, one of the human leaders, "you have a sharp mind. The Queen does not see it, but you may be able to help in other ways. If the battle comes, we will need clever tactics, not just brute strength." Aaron nodded. He had trained for years under the watchful eyes of both humans and aliens. He knew the weaknesses and strengths of his people. He also knew that humans could do things aliens could not. "We are smaller, quicker, and more adaptable," he thought. "Our minds can solve problems that brute force cannot." He felt a quiet determination. If the Queen did not believe in humans, he would have to prove it in action. As the sun began to set, Mira convened a council of her advisors. The chamber was large, with holographic maps projected in the center. Alien generals and human leaders attended, though Myra knew the humans were not truly considered equals in this room. She spoke clearly, her voice steady and commanding. "We face a threat unlike any we have seen," she began. "The aliens among us will lead the defense. Humans will assist in support roles. I will not risk human lives unnecessarily. This battle will be won by strength, not by cleverness alone. Remember this." Some humans whispered among themselves, sharing uneasy glances. Aaron remained silent, absorbing every word. He had no intention of hiding his abilities, but he also knew that caution would be necessary. The Queen's doubt would not be easy to overcome. As night fell over Lumeria, the city lights sparkled like stars on the ground. Ships patrolled the skies, and sentries stood guard along the walls. Mira returned to her private quarters, her mind restless. She had faced threats before and had always emerged victorious. Yet something about this invasion felt different. The unknown ships were fast, efficient, and organized. Her instincts told her to prepare every soldier she had, alien or human, but she remained stubborn in her beliefs. Humans were fragile. They could help, but they would not leave in a quiet part of the city. Aaron gathered a small group of humans. They practiced maneuvers, tested new strategies, and shared ideas. They did not have Myra's power, but they had each other, their creativity, and their courage. Aaron spoke quietly, but with authority. "We may be underestimated," he said. "The Queen thinks we are weak, but we are humans. We adapt, we think. We find ways to survive and win. When the battle comes, we will show her what that means." The humans nodded, feeling a spark of hope and purpose. They were ready to prove themselves, even if the Queen did not believe in them. Far above, Myra gazed at the horizon. The stars twinkled, and distant shadows moved across the sky. The invasion fleet was coming. She felt no fear for herself, only for the city. She believed in her army, in her alien warriors, and in her own strategy. But she could not foresee what was about to happen. A human, one she had underestimated, was quietly preparing to change everything. In the early hours of the morning, the first alarm rang across the city. Scouts had spotted the enemy ships entering Lumeria's orbit. Mira rose from her bed, her heart steady, her mind sharp. She would lead her army. She would defend her kingdom. Humans would remain in the background, as she had commanded. Yet Aaron and his team were already moving. They quietly took positions in the city's streets, rooftops, and hidden pathways. They studied the approaching ships, noting patterns, weaknesses, and opportunities. No one had asked them to act beyond their assigned roles, but they knew that survival depended on action, not waiting. The first rays of the sun broke over Lumeria's walls. The sky lit up with the shimmer of approaching ships. Myra stood on the balcony of the palace, ready to command her forces. Below, in the streets, humans waited. They were ready, not because the Queen believed in them, but because they believed in themselves. The moment had arrived. The storm was coming, and with it, The first chance for humans to show their true strength. Myra still thought humans were weak, but soon she would be forced to see otherwise. The sun rose over Lumeria, painting the silver towers of the capital in warm light. The city was tense, alive with the hum of preparation. Alarm bells rang from the towers as citizens and soldiers hurried to their positions. Mira, the 25-year-old queen, stood on a balcony of her palace, observing the horizon. The enemy fleet had grown larger overnight. Dark shapes, sleek and fast, glinted against the sunlight. The alien invaders had arrived. Myra's heart remained steady. Her alien army was powerful, disciplined, and loyal. She had studied their tactics for years, trained with them, and trusted them implicitly. The humans, however, were in the background. They had been ordered to support roles, ready to assist where needed, but not to lead. Myra believed this was the right choice. Humans were fragile, clever, and persistent, but not warriors like the aliens dot in the streets below. Aaron and his team moved silently. The humans had received the Queen's orders, but they also had their own plan. They had studied the city, its streets, rooftops, and hidden passages. They had examined the enemy ships as they appeared in orbit. Even without the Queen's trust, they were ready. Aaron led them with quiet confidence, giving clear instructions, assigning positions, and preparing for the first attack. "Stay alert," he said. "Watch for patterns. Look for weaknesses. Don't rely on strength alone. Use your minds and your speed. We will do what we can." The humans nodded. Their small group spread across the city, climbing towers, hiding behind walls, and readying simple but effective devices. They had no advanced weapons like the aliens, but they had ingenuity. They had courage. And they had Aaron's leadership. Meanwhile, Myra summoned her alien generals to the palace council room. Holographic maps hovered in the air, displaying enemy movements, predicted paths, and suggested defenses. The generals discussed tactics, their voices low and commanding. Myra listened carefully, her sharp mind analyzing every possibility. "Queen Myra," said General Corin, a towering alien with armored scales, "we must strike the Central Fleet first. If we destroy their command ship, the rest will retreat or scatter. The humans can assist, but they must stay behind our lines." Myra nodded. "Agreed. Alien forces will lead. Humans will act as reserves. Any human casualties are unfortunate, but expected. The city must survive, and the aliens are the key." Back in the city streets, the first wave of enemy ships entered Lumeria's atmosphere. They glided across the sky with precise formation, their weapons glinting in the sunlight. Citizens gasped and scattered for cover. Mira gave the order, and the alien army moved swiftly, leaping into action with incredible speed. Their energy blades, plasma cannons, and agility allowed them to engage the enemy immediately. The humans watched from hidden positions. Aaron studied the movement of the ships and noted patterns. The invaders attacked in predictable sweeps, relying on brute force and size. He realized this could be turned against them. Humans were smaller, faster, and adaptable. With strategy and coordination, they could disrupt the enemy without confronting them head-on. The first clash began near the outer walls. Alien warriors met the invaders with ferocity. Lasers cut through the air, and explosions shook the ground. Mira observed from the balcony, proud of her soldiers. The humans remained in reserve, following her orders, waiting for instructions. Aaron saw an opening. The invaders' left flank moved too quickly, leaving gaps between their formations. He motioned to his team. "Now," he whispered. "Move quietly, stay low, and target the gaps. Disrupt them before they reach the city center." The humans sprang into action. Using rooftops, narrow alleys, and hidden passages, they created small explosions and diversions. Objects toppled, gates were locked remotely, and some humans climbed structures to distract the enemy. The invaders, surprised by these sudden disruptions, faltered. Ships collided slightly, communication signals were interrupted, and their focus wavered. Mira noticed the confusion but attributed it to the chaos of battle. She did not suspect that humans were already having an impact. Aaron continued, moving with calm precision, coordinating his team through hand signals and quick instructions. Each action was deliberate, calculated, and effective. Near the central square, a group of alien warriors fought fiercely against the invading forces. They held their ground, but their numbers were being tested. Several alien soldiers were injured as they tried to protect the city's civilians. Aaron noticed their struggle and saw another opportunity. He directed a small team to flank the invaders, hitting their weak points. Explosions shook the square, and the invaders' formation broke further. The alien soldiers, now aided indirectly by the humans, pushed forward more effectively. Myra watched, her eyes narrowing. Something was different. The humans were moving in ways she had not expected, coordinating with precision and causing real disruption. "Impossible," she muttered. "Humans are not built for this." Aaron and his team continued their efforts. They created obstacles, redirected enemy movements, and protected civilians caught in the fighting. Though small in number, they were proving themselves invaluable. The alien warriors noticed the difference as well. Some exchanged looks of surprise. Humans were not just waiting in the background. They were acting, and their actions were making a real difference. The battle intensified near the city center. The invaders unleashed a massive energy wave, threatening to breach the main gates. Myra's elite forces fought valiantly, but the sheer power of the attack caused some soldiers to fall. Aaron noticed a pattern in the invaders' firing sequence. He quickly instructed a team to position mirrors and reflective panels on rooftops. When the next wave came, the energy would be partially redirected, weakening its force. The plan worked. The wave struck the panels and dispersed, leaving the alien soldiers less harmed. Mira noticed the unexpected effect and felt a spark of disbelief. Could it be? A human plan had altered the course of the battle. Meanwhile, Aaron moved through the streets, checking on his team, giving encouragement, and adjusting strategies. Humans and aliens were now fighting side by side, though Myra had not yet realized the humans' role. The humans' adaptability allowed them to respond to changing situations faster than the larger, stronger aliens. They could slip through narrow gaps, redirect attacks, and outthink the invaders' as the day progressed. The invaders attempted a concentrated strike on the city's energy core, the central hub that powered defenses and communication. If they succeeded, the city would be in chaos. Mira directed her elite warriors to intercept, but the core was difficult to protect. Humans, under Aaron's guidance, took positions along the approach paths. They set simple traps, created diversions, and guided alien soldiers to the most vulnerable points. The invaders, frustrated and confused by the unexpected interference, struggled to coordinate. Aaron signaled his team to make a final push. Using timing, distraction, and precision, they managed to push the invaders back from the core. Several enemy ships were forced to retreat temporarily, and the energy core remained secure. Myra watched in awe, though she still struggled to believe it. Humans had not simply supported. They had actively contributed to the defense, saving key parts of the city and protecting her soldiers. Her doubts began to stir, though pride and stubbornness still held her back. By the afternoon, the initial wave of invaders had been slowed. The alien army held most of the outer city walls, while humans continued their subtle but effective tactics in the streets. Citizens began to venture from hiding, inspired by the bravery they witnessed. Aaron's leadership was evident in every successful maneuver, every coordinated action, and every life saved. At the palace, Myra summoned a messenger to bring her updates from the city streets. Reports came in of small human squads making a significant impact, protecting civilians and disrupting enemy movements. She listened quietly, her mind working quickly. Humans were acting beyond their supposed limits, and she could no longer dismiss their contribution as minor or accidental. Mira rose from the balcony, her voice commanding as always. "Prepare the city for further attacks," she said, "and ensure humans continue their roles. Their actions are unexpected but helpful. Monitor them closely." The word unexpected lingered in her mind. Mira did not yet admit it fully, but she was beginning to see that her beliefs about humans might be incomplete. They were smaller, less physically strong, but clever, brave, and coordinated. She had underestimated them. As night fell, the first day of battle ended. The city had survived, though scars were visible on the walls and streets. Fires burned in controlled areas, alien soldiers regrouped, and humans gathered to review their actions. Aaron stood with his team, proud but focused. The first wave was over, but the battle was far from finished. Aaron looked at the city skyline, his mind already planning for the next wave. Mira, in the palace, stared at the same horizon. She still believed humans were fragile, but she could no longer ignore what they had accomplished. The seeds of doubt had been planted, and the knowledge of human potential was stirring. Tomorrow, the real test would begin. The invasion was only starting, and the humans would face challenges unlike anything they had seen before. But Aaron and his team were ready, armed with courage, ingenuity, and a determination to prove themselves. And Myra would soon be forced to see humans not as weak, but as indispensable. The night was quiet over Lumeria, but the calm was temporary. Fires burned in pockets of the city where the first wave had hit, casting flickering shadows across the streets. Citizens moved cautiously through safer paths, and alien soldiers patrolled the walls, ever alert for another strike. Mira stood on her balcony, her eyes scanning the horizon. Stars twinkled above, but among them were dark shapeships waiting, hovering just beyond the city's defenses. Myra felt a weight in her chest. Her alien army had held the outer walls, but the invaders had tested her defenses and found gaps. Reports from her generals told her the invaders were adapting, changing their formations, and probing for weaknesses. And still, she had humans in support roles. Kept away from the front lines. In a hidden street below, Aaron gathered his team of human volunteers. They had spent the night preparing, analyzing every movement of the invaders from the previous day. Maps of the city were spread out before them, marked with points where enemy forces had been strongest and areas where civilians were trapped. "We have to be faster, smarter, and coordinated," Aaron said, pointing to the maps. "Yesterday we slowed them, but today will be harder. They know our patterns, and they will try to hit the city center directly. We need to stop them." A young human named Taran spoke up. "The alien warriors are strong, but they are also predictable. They follow orders exactly. We can use that. We can lead the invaders into traps, distract them, and guide the aliens to where they are needed most." Aaron nodded. "Exactly. We are small, but we can think and move in ways they cannot. We will use that. Remember, no one else expects humans to make a difference. That is our advantage." As the first light of morning touched the city, the invaders struck again. The fleet descended in tight formations, aiming for the central city gates. The alien warriors met them immediately, their weapons blazing, their strength formidable. Myra observed from above, her heart steady but her mind tense. The humans remained in the streets, following orders and observing. Aaron acted quickly. He had noticed a flaw in the invaders' approach. Their largest ships moved slowly near the city core, leaving smaller vessels exposed. He motioned to his team. "Split into 2 groups," he whispered. "Group 1 will create diversions near the main gates. Group 2 will use the narrow streets to target the smaller ships and protect civilians. Move quietly, but act with precision. The humans scattered like shadows. Using rooftops, narrow alleyways, and hidden passages, they disrupted the invaders' formation. Objects were toppled to block paths, small explosions delayed attacks, and traps caused enemy ships to hesitate. Though their actions were subtle, the effects were immediate. The invaders' formation wavered, and alien soldiers noticed the advantage. Myra's eyes widened. The humans were moving again, and this time, their actions were deliberate. They were not waiting in the background. They were actively influencing the battle. She felt a flicker of doubt about her previous assumptions. Could humans really be this effective? Near the city center, the invaders attempted to break through the energy core's defenses again. Their largest ships fired with destructive force, and alien soldiers struggled to maintain their positions. Aaron noticed a pattern in their firing sequences, just as he had the previous day. "Prepare the reflectors," he instructed. "We can weaken the next wave. Everyone, position yourself carefully." Humans moved quickly, placing mirrors, panels, and small reflective devices on rooftops and walls. When the next energy wave struck, it scattered harmlessly against the surfaces, leaving the alien defenders largely unharmed. The invaders faltered, confused by the unexpected result. Myra's hands tightened on the balcony railing. She could not deny it any longer. Humans were not just supporting. They were actively defending the city and saving lives. She had underestimated them. Her pride battled with the reality before her eyes, and she struggled to reconcile the two. The battle intensified. The invaders had learned from their previous failures and were now sending small teams to infiltrate the streets, hoping to bypass defenses. Aaron anticipated this. He directed small groups of humans to intercept the infiltrators, using clever tactics rather than brute strength. They blocked paths, created noise in strategic locations, and guided the invaders into controlled traps. Each success slowed the enemy and gave the alien warriors breathing room. In one narrow street, Aaron encountered a group of invaders attempting to break through to the city center. Using quick thinking, he directed his team to block exits with debris and to use reflective devices to confuse the invaders' sensors. The invaders hesitated, giving the alien warriors time to arrive and push them back. Civilians who had been trapped were guided to safety. Mira, observing from the palace, could no longer hide her amazement. Humans were not weak. They were clever, adaptable, and brave. She realized that strength alone was not enough to win this battle. Courage, intelligence, and strategy were equally important, and humans possessed these qualities in abundance. Aaron's leadership became more evident as the day progressed. He moved from group to group, providing instructions, adjusting tactics, and maintaining morale. Humans were small compared to the aliens, but they were agile, precise, and fearless. The invaders could not predict their movements, and this unpredictability created openings for the larger alien warriors. During a critical moment, a squad of alien soldiers was surrounded by the invaders near the city gates. Aaron noticed the danger and acted immediately. He signaled a small human team to flank the invaders from a hidden alley. They used reflective panels to deflect laser fire, creating confusion, and allowed the alien soldiers to regroup and push back the attackers. The operation succeeded flawlessly, saving dozens of soldiers and civilians. Myra's heart pounded. She had seen humans act before, but never with such effectiveness. The young soldiers she had dismissed, Aaron, had orchestrated a strategy that combined human ingenuity with the alien army's strength. For the first time, she saw humans not as weak creatures, but as capable defenders. The invaders, frustrated by repeated failures, regrouped for a concentrated attack on the central plaza. They aimed to destroy the energy core and force the city into submission. Mira's elite forces prepared, but the odds were challenging. Humans, under Aaron's guidance, took strategic positions, ready to disrupt the enemy at key moments. Aaron observed the approach carefully. "We have one chance to slow them down," he said to his team. "Create barriers, guide their movements, and delay them. Focus on protecting civilians and giving the alien warriors time. Every second counts." Humans moved with precision. Barricades were raised. Narrow streets funneled invaders into controlled zones, and distractions caused the enemy to lose formation. The alien warriors took advantage of these openings, striking at the invaders with renewed effectiveness. Myra's eyes followed the unfolding events. She felt a mixture of pride, surprise, and humility. Humans had changed the battle without her knowledge or direct orders. Their courage, intelligence, and teamwork were undeniable. The Queen, who had believed humans were fragile, now faced the reality she could no longer ignore. As the sun reached its peak, the first major turning point of the battle occurred. The invaders' formation collapsed near the central plaza, and several ships were forced to retreat. Alien warriors pressed their advantage, pushing the remaining invaders back toward the outskirts of the city. Humans, under Aaron's leadership, continued to act strategically, preventing the enemy from regrouping and keeping civilians safe. Myra descended from her balcony to the council chamber. She needed to understand what had just happened. Reports flowed in, detailing how humans had disrupted the invaders, guided the aliens, and protected key areas of the city. She listened, her pride struggling against the undeniable truth. Humans were not weak. They had saved lives, influenced the course of the battle, and proved their value beyond expectation. Aaron, unaware of the Queen's observation, gathered his team in a quiet street. They were exhausted but focused. The first wave had been slowed, the city center protected, and civilians were safe. He looked at his team and said, "We did well today. The battle is not over, but we have shown that humans can make a difference. Tomorrow, we will be even smarter, stronger, and faster. We fight for our city and for each other." The humans nodded, their spirits lifted by success and purpose. They had acted without recognition, without expectation, and had achieved results beyond what anyone thought possible. They were small, but they were powerful in ways that strength alone could not measure. Myra, in the council chamber, studied the maps and reports. The turning point was clear. Humans had proven their worth, and the Queen could no longer ignore it. Her belief in their weakness was challenged, and a new understanding began to form. She realized that courage, intelligence, and adaptability could rival brute strength. Humans possessed these qualities, and in this battle, they had used them to save lives and protect the city. As the city recovered from the first major wave, Aaron and his team prepared for what would come next. They knew the invaders would return stronger and smarter. But now, they were ready, armed with experience, strategy, and unwavering courage. Myra, too, prepared herself for the next challenge. She had underestimated humans, but now she could see their potential.
The morning sun rose over Lumeria, casting golden light on the city that had already endured a fierce day of battle. The streets still bore marks of destruction and smoke rose from scattered fires. Citizens moved cautiously, helping each other repair damage and tending to minor injuries. Alien warriors patrolled the streets and walls, their eyes sharp, their muscles tense. Queen Myra stood on her balcony, her gaze fixed on the horizon. The enemy fleet had regrouped, larger and more organized than before. Ships glimmered in the sunlight, their formations precise and threatening. Myra knew this wave would be more challenging. She also knew that yesterday had changed her understanding of humans. She could no longer dismiss them. Aaron gathered his team early in the morning. The humans had rested but remained alert. They had learned from the first wave, and their experience was now an advantage. Aaron studied the city layout and the enemy's patterns from the previous day. "We face a stronger wave today," he said quietly. "The invaders will expect some of our moves. We must be smarter. We must act before they can adapt." Taryn, his closest teammate, nodded. We can combine our small groups, cover more ground, and create coordinated distractions. The aliens will follow the openings we create. We just have to lead them where we want, Aaron agreed. Exactly. Remember, every action counts. Protect civilians, guide the aliens, and disrupt the invaders. Use what we learned yesterday. Stay alert, stay focused, and trust each other. As the invaders approached, Mira gave the order for her alien warriors to engage. Ships streaked across the sky, energy weapons fired, and explosions lit the city. The alien army moved with precision, holding the front lines. Yet this wave was faster and more organized than the last. Some aliens were forced to retreat or reposition, and gaps began to appear in the defenses. Aaron acted immediately. He split his team into multiple squads, positioning them along the streets and rooftops. Each group had a specific task: creating distractions, slowing down enemy ships, protecting civilians, or guiding alien warriors. The humans moved with quiet precision, invisible to most but highly effective. In one narrow street, a team of humans had set up reflective panels and barriers. When an energy blast came, it scattered harmlessly, confusing the invaders and leaving alien soldiers a chance to counterattack. Another team used smoke and noise to distract a squad of invaders attempting to infiltrate the city center. Mira watched from her balcony, astonished. Humans were no longer just assisting, they were orchestrating parts of the battle. Their actions were clever, coordinated, and impactful. Her pride struggled against her growing admiration. She had underestimated them for too long. Near the central plaza, the invaders focused their attack, aiming for the city's energy core once more. This time they had reinforced ships, their numbers greater, their weapons deadlier. Alien warriors engaged with courage, but the pressure was intense. Aaron observed carefully, noting the gaps and weaknesses in their formation. Prepare the decoys, he instructed. We will make them commit to the wrong paths. The aliens will have openings to strike. Humans worked quickly, placing decoy energy sources, moving obstacles, and signaling to alien units. When the invaders arrived, they were drawn toward false targets. Confused, several ships collided or were delayed, giving alien soldiers precious time to counterattack. Civilians caught in the battle were guided to safety by human teams moving through hidden paths. Mira felt a rush of pride mixed with disbelief. Humans were proving themselves in ways she had never imagined. They were small, yet their courage and intelligence created opportunities that raw strength alone could not. She began to see that her belief in human weakness had been completely wrong. In the streets, Aaron noticed a critical situation. A group of alien soldiers had been surrounded by invaders near the eastern gate. He acted without hesitation. "Team Delta, follow me," he whispered. "We will flank them and create a path. Move quietly but swiftly." The team moved through narrow alleys and climbed rooftops, reaching a position behind the enemy. With precision, they activated small explosives and reflective devices to create confusion. The invaders turned toward the noise, and the alien soldiers seized the opportunity to regroup and break free from encirclement. Civilians in the area were guided to safety. Mira observed the rescue and finally understood the truth. Humans were not weak. Their adaptability, intelligence, and courage allowed them to achieve what even the strongest aliens could not always do alone. She felt a sense of humility and respect for the young soldier leading these efforts. The battle raged across the city. Humans and aliens now worked in unspoken harmony. While alien warriors engaged directly, humans disrupted, guided, and protected. Every success strengthened the morale of the defenders. Citizens who had been frightened before now watched with hope, inspired by the bravery they saw around them. Aaron's leadership became even more critical as the day progressed. He anticipated invaders' movements, redirected their attacks, and guided alien soldiers to vulnerable points. Humans acted as scouts, strategists, and protectors simultaneously. Their small size allowed them to move quickly. Their courage allowed them to face danger without hesitation, and their intelligence allowed them to solve problems in ways alien soldiers could not. Mira descended to the command chamber to get closer to the battle updates. Reports came in rapidly. Humans had saved dozens of civilians, disrupted multiple enemy attacks, and created openings that allowed the alien warriors to strike decisively. Mira listened carefully, her mind working quickly to adjust strategies. She could no longer dismiss human actions as minor. They were central to the city's defense. By midday, the invaders had been forced into retreat. Their formations were broken, their energy waves scattered, and several ships had been destroyed or forced back into orbit. The alien army pressed forward, taking advantage of openings created by the humans. The streets of Lumeria were filled with a combination of battle cries, shouts of coordination, and the careful guidance of human teams. Mira walked through the council chamber, her mind filled with awe. Aaron and his team had turned the tide of the battle. Without them, the invaders might have breached the city center and destroyed the energy core. Now, the Queen realized, humans were not just participants, they were indispensable. In the central plaza, Aaron's team regrouped. They were exhausted, but the sense of accomplishment was palpable. Aaron looked at the humans around him and spoke quietly but firmly. "We did what we had to do. The city is still standing. The civilians are safe and the invaders are retreating. But the battle is not over. Tomorrow they may return. We must be ready. We will continue to protect our people. And we will show everyone that humans are strong, clever, and brave." The humans nodded, their determination unwavering. They had proven themselves once, and they were ready to do it again. Mira entered the central command chamber, her expression calm but her mind racing. She had observed the entire battle from strategic points, and she knew the truth. Humans had not simply assisted, they had led, saved, and inspired. Aaron had done what she had doubted any human could do. He had changed the course of the battle. "Summon Aaron," she ordered. "I want to speak with him personally." Minutes later, Aaron and his team stood before the Queen. Mira looked at him carefully. For years, she had underestimated humans, seeing them as fragile and limited. Now she saw something different. Courage, intelligence, and leadership shone clearly in this young soldier. "Aaron," she said, her voice steady but filled with respect. "Today humans have saved this city. You and your team acted with skill, courage, and wisdom beyond what I expected. You have proven that humans are capable of far more than I imagined. I owe you my gratitude and the gratitude of Lumeria." Aaron bowed respectfully. "Thank you, Your Majesty. We only did what was necessary to protect our home and our people. The city belongs to all of us, humans and aliens alike. We fought together and together we succeeded." Mira nodded. She felt a change within herself, a shift in understanding. Strength alone did not determine victory. Intelligence, courage, and unity were equally important. Humans had shown her that today, and she would never forget it. As the sun set over Lumeria, the city began to recover from the day's battle. Fires were extinguished, citizens repaired what they could, and alien soldiers tended to the wounded. Humans moved quietly, helping where needed, guiding citizens and preparing for any further attacks. Aaron walked through the streets, observing the results of their efforts. Though exhausted, he felt pride and determination. Humans had proven themselves in a way that would be remembered. They had shown that courage and intelligence could overcome brute strength, and that even the smallest and seemingly weakest could make a difference when united and guided by strategy. Mira stood on the palace balcony, looking over the city. She had underestimated humans for too long, but today she had seen the truth. Humans were not weak. They were capable, brave, and essential to the kingdom's survival. She knew that this battle had changed her view forever. The Queen smiled quietly to herself. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but she now understood the value of her people. Humans and aliens together had defended the city, and together they would face whatever came next. And in the streets of Lumeria, Aran and his team rested briefly. The morning after the battle broke quietly over Lumeria. The city was calm but still scarred from the recent fighting. Smoke rose from small fires that had not yet been fully extinguished, and citizens moved cautiously through streets lined with debris. Yet despite the destruction, a sense of hope lingered in the air. Lumeria had survived the invaders' attacks, and for the first time, humans were recognized as true defenders of the kingdom. Queen Mira stood on her balcony, looking over the city she had ruled since she was 18. Her eyes swept across the walls, the towers, and the streets. The city had faced its greatest threat in decades, and it had survived not because of strength alone, but because courage, intelligence, and unity had guided it. Mira thought of the young soldier who had changed everything, Aaron. She felt a deep respect for him and for the humans who had fought alongside the alien warriors. Inside the palace, Mira called her council together. The chamber filled with alien generals, human leaders, and advisors. The atmosphere was serious but filled with anticipation. Today was not just a day of recovery. It was a day of recognition. "Report," Mira said, her voice clear and commanding. General Corin, The towering alien warrior who had fought in the front lines stepped forward. "Your Majesty, the enemy fleet has retreated. Their forces have suffered heavy losses. They will not attempt another assault in the near future. The city remains secure," Mira nodded. "And the humans?" she asked, her voice softer, carrying a note of curiosity and respect. Aaron stepped forward with his team. Mira's eyes met his, and she could see the exhaustion in his face, but also the determination. "Your Majesty, humans acted where they were able," he said. "We assisted alien forces, protected civilians, and disrupted enemy movements. We did what was necessary to defend the city." Mira studied him carefully. She could see the courage, intelligence, and leadership shining in his calm expression. "You have done more than assist," she said. "You have led, you have saved lives, and you have proven that humans are not weak. From today onward, that truth will guide our kingdom." The chamber erupted in quiet murmurs of surprise and respect. The alien generals exchanged looks, some nodding in agreement. Humans who had long been underestimated were finally recognized for their value and skill. After the council, Mira summoned Aaron to the palace garden. The sun was warm, and flowers that had survived the battle swayed gently in the breeze. Mira gestured for Aaron to sit. "You have changed my view of humans," she said. "I believed we needed strength above all. But today I have learned that intelligence, courage, and strategy are equally important. You have shown me that humans possess these qualities in abundance." Aaron bowed his head respectfully. "Thank you, Your Majesty. We only wanted to protect our home and our people. We did not fight for recognition, but to ensure the city survived." Mira smiled. "Recognition is not given lightly, but it is deserved. You and your team will be honored. More importantly, humans will be given roles in leadership and strategy, not just support. From this day forward, humans will be trusted with responsibilities they have long been denied." Aaron felt a mixture of pride and humility. The Queen's words were more than recognition. They were a promise of change. He thought of his team, of the civilians who had been guided to safety, and of the alien warriors who had fought alongside him. Together they had defended the city, and together they had changed history. Later that day, the city held a ceremony in the central plaza. Citizens gathered to celebrate the victory, though the scars of battle were still visible. Mira stood on a raised platform addressing the crowd. Alien warriors stood in formation, and human volunteers, including Aaron, were at the front receiving acknowledgement from the Queen. "Citizens of Lumeria," Mira began, her voice strong and clear, "our city has faced a grave threat and emerged victorious. Today, we honor not only the bravery of our alien warriors, but also the courage and intelligence of our human defenders. They have proven that strength alone does not protect a kingdom. Unity, strategy, and courage are just as important. Today, humans have earned their rightful place as equals in defending this kingdom." The crowd erupted in cheers. Humans and aliens alike celebrated together, a sight that had rarely been seen in Lumeria's history. Aaron looked around, seeing smiles, tears, and relief. The city had survived, and its people had grown stronger through the trial. Mira descended from the platform and approached Aaron. She handed him a medal, a symbol of honor for his bravery and leadership. "Aaron," she said, "you have shown all of us that humans are capable of greatness. You have saved lives, guided our warriors, and inspired our people. For that, you have my deepest gratitude and the respect of Lumeria." Aaron accepted the medal, bowing respectfully. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I only did what was necessary. I fought for the people, for the city, and for everyone who calls Lumeria home." Mira nodded. "And that is why you succeeded. Remember this lesson, Aaron. Strength is important, but courage, intelligence, and unity are what make a kingdom truly strong." In the days that followed, the city began to rebuild. Humans and aliens worked together to repair walls, clear debris, and restore order. The experience of the battle had changed everyone. Citizens had seen the courage of humans firsthand, and alien warriors had learned to respect their ingenuity and bravery. Aaron continued to lead small teams, ensuring that every citizen was safe and that the city's defenses were strengthened for the future. He worked closely with both humans and aliens, bridging gaps that had existed for generations. His leadership and vision became a symbol of what humans could achieve when trusted and empowered. Mira observed these developments carefully. She realized that the battle had taught her more than any victory or defeat ever could. Humans were not weak. They were resourceful, courageous, and capable of leadership. She had once doubted them, but now she understood that her kingdom's strength relied on the unity of all its people. regardless of origin or appearance. Weeks later, the Queen held a council to discuss future defense strategies. Humans were now active participants contributing ideas and tactics. Aaron and his team were present, offering insight from their experience in the battle. Alien generals listened carefully, realizing that humans brought unique skills that complemented their own strength. "We will rebuild and strengthen Lumeria," Mira said to the council, "but we will do so with unity and trust. Humans and aliens will train together, strategize together, and defend together. Our kingdom is stronger when we respect the abilities of every person who calls it home." Aaron nodded, proud of the changes taking place. The city had survived because humans had proven themselves, and now the kingdom would move forward with a new understanding. He thought of the young volunteers who had followed him, the civilians they had protected, and the alien warriors who had fought beside them. Together they had achieved something extraordinary. In the months that followed, Lumeria became a city transformed. Humans were given positions of leadership and responsibility in defense, education, and strategy. Alien warriors learned to value human creativity and courage, while humans respected the strength and skill of their alien allies. The kingdom was stronger, not just because of might, but because of trust, cooperation, and mutual respect. Mira often walked through the streets, observing the citizens. She saw humans teaching young children tactics and strategy, alien warriors practicing side by side with human soldiers, and civilians working together to rebuild homes and businesses. The city was alive with energy, determination, and hope. One evening, Mira returned to her balcony, looking out over the city. The sun set in brilliant colors, reflecting off the silver towers. She thought of the battle, the bravery of the humans, and the courage of Aaron. She smiled quietly, knowing that Lumeria had not only survived but had grown stronger. Aaron, standing nearby, looked out at the same city skyline. He had once been underestimated, doubted, and overlooked. Now he was a symbol of human potential, a reminder that courage and intelligence could triumph over assumptions and prejudice. The city had been saved and a new era had begun. "Your Majesty," Aaron said softly, "the city is safe and our people are ready for whatever comes next. Together, humans and aliens can face any challenge." Mira nodded. "Yes, Aaron, together we are stronger. You have proven what humans can do, and you have changed the way this kingdom will see its people forever. Lumeria will never forget your courage and leadership." As night fell over the city, lights twinkled in every street and tower. The scars of battle remained, but they were reminders of courage, unity, and triumph. Lumeria had survived not because of strength alone, but because humans and aliens had fought together, trusted each other, and believed in a common purpose. And in the quiet of the palace, Mira reflected on what she had learned. Strength mattered, but courage, intelligence, and unity mattered even more. Humans were no longer underestimated, and the kingdom would grow stronger because of it. Aaron returned to his team, proud but humble. The battle was over, but the future had only begun. Together, humans and aliens would protect the kingdom, ensuring that Lumeria remained safe, strong, and united for generations to come. The city slept peacefully that night, and for the first time in decades, Queen Mira allowed herself to feel confident, not just in the strength,